the ancient sages, so to speak, who are inseparable from what is here right now as everything that appears, when we look at what they did and we read what they said and what they did, many times we interpret that through our dualist filters. What the ancient sages really said was that when they meditated on space or rested as space and became aware that that is the essence of their being, that they then found that space to be inseparable from the clear light of wisdom. They didn't say they then went from that to somewhere else. They just said they found that everything to be inseparable from the clear light of wisdom. So the way that we can best understand that today is that initially we rest as awareness, which is inseparable from space itself. But when we talk about space, we're not talking about space as an object that is studied in science. We're not talking about space that's the extent of a surface. We're talking about the meta space in which everything, no matter what it is subsumed. So it's the greater category in which everything is subsumed, and from which the clear light of wisdom is inseparable. So say we have an appearance, no matter what it is, like something that comes up in our mind, a big emotion or a thought or whatever it is, and we just rest as that pure space, we're automatically resting as the sublime wisdom of whatever that appearance is. And that just becomes more and more obvious. Awareness is not an abstraction. And when the direct experience of awareness is combined with the powerful ultimate metaphor of basic space, it's very easy for people to realize the result of their own being. So, the ultimate reality of everything has been called many, many things. And it's very important for everyone to be able to relate to that in a way that's directly accessible. And awareness, self-knowing awareness, which is the essence, the heart essence of everything, is a very direct way for most people to do that. So, the great freedom teaching, which I represent, is very focused on a uniform message that can be shared by all human beings, that is very easy for any human being to understand, whether schooled or not, and to decisively experience and grow more and more familiar with. So we have chosen the language of the teaching with great care from the light of sublime wisdom, so that it's something that's easily accessible to everyone. Now, that's really great because it allows for everything. It allows for everything. If you want to call it the infinite, go right ahead. It allows for that too. But it doesn't say that everyone has to call it that. And it because it isn't tied to any system or category of a way of looking at things like religion, spirituality, philosophy, psychology, or anything else. It's just simply based on what it means to be human. It can either include all those things I just mentioned or not. I didn't use the term refinement of perceptions. I said refining perceptions. By resting imperturbably in awareness. And let's see, what's an illustration we could liken that to? Well, we could liken it to crude oil. When crude oil comes out of the ground and it goes to a refinery, it's refined into its more subtle form. So all the while within the crude oil, there's gasoline and other types of substances, but they don't become apparent until the refining process takes place. They're not usable in any way until the refining process takes place. So getting familiar with awareness, the pure awareness that is the ground of everything, there's an automatic refining of perception that takes place. In the beginning, perception could be considered crude because it's caught up in incidentals and taken to be something. And then as perception is refined, it's like the pupil dilating in the eye. It opens up. So the word refining and opening of perception are equal. Then there's no need to cling to anything. There's just the complete, utter relaxation that is at the core of everything. There's no need to jump into, I've got to have it my way. If it isn't talked about this way, then I can't stand it. We don't need to have any special terms or ways of looking at anything. We no longer bristle in response to everything we hear, or a lot of what we hear. We just have a relaxed openness, no matter what appears, with no need to hold to anything. You see, the whole process where our perception is always wide open, and our reception is too. We're always completely wide open like space, so we don't need to get that way. We're just acknowledging that that's already the case. The whole way of life based on getting involved in all the points of view and taking those to be who we are is based on a very simple process. And that is, first of all, when a point of view, that's synonymous with a thought, emotion, or an experience, when any of this appears, then the whole way of life of point of view or dualistic perception is based on holding to these points of view that appear. The point of view appears, and then there's the holding to that. Then there's discriminating about whether the point of view is good or bad, and whether it's something to accept or reject. And when we're discriminating as whether everything is something to accept and something to reject, we're automatically throwing ourselves into disturbance, afflictive states. So this is the whole routine of taking everything to be something, taking ourselves to be someone, taking ourselves to be someone who's opposed to something else. And the only way we can take ourselves to be someone who's opposed to something or someone else is to be opposed within ourselves to our own thoughts. If we're opposed within ourselves, saying, this thought is right, that thought is wrong, or my thoughts are right and that other person's thoughts are wrong, then it just spins out a whole reality of just that. When we relax into the essence of everything, the sublime light of wisdom sees the true nature of all phenomena, no matter what they are. No matter what appears, it appears as an expanse of equalness, the infinite vast expanse of equalness. And the need to call something negative or positive subverts that equalness. It makes it seem like that equalness isn't. Now, no matter what appears, whether we think of it as negative or positive, to just rest completely without any need to further the elaboration or description is to decisively experience the nature of our being. Well, whatever is. There's no need to change or modify anything. Life is just whatever it is. But if we try to rearrange things in order to make ourselves more aware, then we get into a little bit of a problematic situation because nothing needs to be changed. Now, there are ways that we can know more about sleep And one of those ways is that when falling asleep, rather than just conking out and going right into sleep, to just rest in bed and notice how all the points of view subside into a non-conceptual point of view. So the very busy, active points of view subside into a non-conceptual point of view. And then at that point, remain aware, vivid awareness as that non-conceptual expanse. And from that, it's possible then to remain aware all during sleep. Not that that's a pastime or a practice you need to take up, but it's greatly supportive of resting in awareness, because we usually think that we're completely at the whim of sleep and dreams, that there's nothing we can do about them. But when it becomes so obvious that sleep and dreams too are points of view appearing within awareness, that's very powerful.
No special practice is needed for that.
No, just what I described. Just remain aware. Rest while you're going to sleep. Remain aware. Remain aware. Sleep is a point of view, too. Awareness never slept. Never went to sleep. So you see, all of these things in terms of waking, dreaming, sleeping, these states that we describe about ourselves, or birth, life, and death, all of these are just points of view within the ground, the primordial ground. You don't really need to call it anything.